Hello and welcome to the next in your series of video lectures. Today we're going to talk about mass communication. Mass communication includes what I would call traditional media. TV, radio, billboard, magazine, direct mail, missing one or two. Direct mail. Oh, newspaper. That's it, newspaper. You know, it's amazing that TV spend for advertising is on the rise. I would have never believed that, simply because nobody's watching TV anymore. But they are watching TV. They're watching sports, and there are a lot of people that do watch live TV. There's also a lot of people that record TV on their DVR, or they watch it on Hulu or Netflix or something like that. So I would think that TV spend would be on the decline, but it's not. It's actually on the rise. So today we're going to talk all about mass communications. You use mass communications when you have a single message to hit a lot of different people with. There's a lot of different strategies that go into mass communications, and there's a lot of different vehicles to use when trying to reach people. Two key terms that we're going to talk about is reach and frequency. And we're also going to talk about the communication process here in this chapter. Like all the other chapters, when you're done, please give me a memo, 1.5 to 2 pages on the key points in this video. And until then, I will see you on Monday. So as I talked about in the introduction, today we're going to talk about managing mass communications. So obviously I've been saying this all year. Everything in marketing starts with who are you going to do what to. If your who is very large, if you've got a very big audience, then you're going to use a mass communication program. You're going to use something like TV advertising or billboard or what we would call traditional media, such as newspaper, magazine, email blasts, direct mail campaigns, etc. But the first thing you've got to do is you've got to set your goal. What do you want to do? And that will really advocate or indicate what type of mass media you're going to use and what your message is going to say. So some of the factors to consider is how much money do you have? Remember, TV advertising is expensive, but the reach is incredible. So you're looking at your cost per person to reach is very, very low, but the initial cost is very high. You also want to take a look at market share. If you are the market share leader, then you want to get your name out there. Mass advertising will do well if you lead the market. If you are a follower, maybe not so much. Also, if you're new into the market, then you might also want to get your name out there, and reach would be important to you. The other thing is competition, and you got to deal with clutter. The problem with mass media is clutter. People turn it off. People see a lot of it. It doesn't register with a lot of people and that type of thing. So then once you decide what kind of money you want to spend, what kind of message you want to spend or send, then you've got to generate the message. You got to evaluate the message. You got to say, is it saying what I want it to say? Then you got to execute the message. You got to pick your media, whether it's reach, and again, reach is how many people see. Frequency is how often they see. What's going to be your impact, etc. And then finally, you got to find a way, somehow, some way, you got to find a way to measure this. So developing the advertising program, first thing you got to do is set the advertising objective, create the budget, develop the campaign, choose the media, and evaluate the advertising effectiveness. The first thing, though, with advertising objective has to come in is who is your target market? Remember, who are you going to do what to? That's all got to be part of your advertising objective. So once you understand who, now the thing is, what are you going to do? Are you going to inform? Are you going to say, we're out there? Oftentimes, if you're a market leader and people know your product, know your brand, then you're just going to inform them that we're out there and to continue to inform, or you're going to remind them. If you look at Geico, for instance, or if you look at Flow, they always use humor, and we talked about that in the last chapter. They always use humor. Basically, they're just reminding people that they are advertising, and these are the type, or excuse me, insurance, and these are the type of insurance in which they offer. You can be informative, like we're bringing out a new product. Generally speaking, that Apple commercial that I really like, the one with the earbuds, and he's bouncing on a trampoline, and they've got that kind of hip hop rap song behind him. That's very informative. You know, it informs that Alexa can play. You know, like he says, Alexa, play me a new song. So they're informing you that the product is out there, and you can use Alexa with it. And then finally, you might want to persuade somebody. And oftentimes when you're persuading somebody, you have to have a call to action, which is buy one, get one, half off, $9.99, deal ends soon, or something like that. So you're trying to persuade somebody to do something. Oftentimes with persuasion, you've got to have some type of a call to action. And then finally, sometimes you're just reinforcing. We are the market leader. We are the biggest. We are the best. We are the ones out there. So you got to decide on the advertising budget. Oftentimes people use a percentage of sales. Now you got to remember, it's not a one-to-one. For every dollar of advertising you spend, you're not going to get a dollar of sales. If you did, everybody would advertise all the time. You got to take a look at your stage in the product life cycle. If you are a cash cow, you're not going to put a lot of money into it. If you are a star, you're going to feed it like gasoline on a fire. If in fact you are a problem child, you're going to kind of move cautiously. And then look at the stages in the product life cycle. If you are in the growth stage, you are going to throw money at it. If you are in the introduction stage, you're going to throw money at it. Once you hit the mature stage or the decline stage, probably not. You're also going to look at your market share, your competition. You're going to look at how often you're going to advertise. Some people just advertise only around Christmas time. I always use Cadbury eggs. They only advertise around Easter because that's when everybody buys those Cadbury eggs. Then you also got to look at product substitutability. If there's a lot of substitutes, you might have to continue to remind. So you might have to have a high budget. If there's very few substitutes, there's not really a lot of reason to advertise because they have to use their product or you're going to use one. So as you develop the advertised campaign, the message generation and evaluation is really key. I talked to you about, at least I think I've talked to you. If I haven't talked to you about it, I'll do it the next time we're together. But I talked to you about the communication process. And the communication process starts with a sender encodes the message. They put it on a vehicle or, vehicle, which would be the way you're going to transmit your message. You've got someone who decodes the message and then receives it. Message generation and evaluation is all about encoding. What you have to do is you've got to make sure you encode the way you want them to decode. If you can encode a message the way you want your receivers to decode it, you're doing great. But there's so much noise in the communications process that oftentimes when you encode something, someone decodes it incorrectly or wrongly. And that comes into personal bias and that type of thing. So with message generation, those of you that have taken my promotions management class, you know all about creative briefs. We did a ton of them. Creative briefs is like an outline of what your message is going to be. And it kind of talks about how you're going to position your ad, what you're going to say, what is your key takeaway, and that type of thing. And then there's also open sourcing and crowdsourcing. And that's something that, and I think I showed you the Doritos commercial last time we were together. That was crowdsource. Crowdsource is having somebody, one of your customers develop an ad for you. So that would be crowdsourcing. Then once you do the creative brief, you understand what your message is, you encode your message. Now you've got to do the creative. And the creative is everything about in the ad. Now, again, those of you who have taken my promotions management class, you understand that. But the creative is everything in the ad, including the image, including any text, the colors you use, etc. So this right here, this never hide, this Ray-Ban, that would be the whole thing you see there is the creative. It's black and white. There's people dancing. They're dressed in, looks like sometime around the 50s. There's only a very small text. It's never hide. You got the Ray-Ban logo over there, and it is a very visual ad. The whole thing is your creative. That's what we call a creative. So when you start looking at your development, your execution, you look at your entire creative. Your creative is going to be based on whether you put it on television, if you're going to go print, if you're going to go radio, if you're going to go multimedia, like for instance, you're going to go radio and TV. There's many ads that you see on TV that you hear on the radio also. Or whether you're going to do a variation of both. For instance, take a look at Flow. And again, I know I talk about Flow a lot with regards to progressive, but I listen to the Indians every night. And they play at Progressive Field, so every night I hear about 30 progressive commercials. Flow is, they translate a lot of their television advertising to radio. So you see it on TV, then they use the same type of dialogue on radio so that it translates very well. Then you got to take a look at, your legal and social issues. There's some things that you can say. We talked about this last time when we got together. There's some things that you can do. There's some things you can't do. There's some people that push the envelope. The FCC regulates what you can say and what you can't say on TV with the swearing and that type of thing. We've talked about some of those banned ads that were supposed to be Super Bowl ads that were banned because they really pushed the envelope. So there's false claims, there's hyperboles, there's you can't have false demonstrations. There's things that you can do with when you're advertising to children. There's things that you can't do when you're advertising to children, and all those types of things. Then finally, you got to choose your media. Okay, the two key considerations with regards to choosing your media is, one, do you want mass communication? Because if you don't want mass communication, then you're going to look at some type of a digital communication or social media communication or email or something like that. The second thing you want to take a look at is, are you looking for reach or are you looking for frequency? Or are you looking for both? And what's the impact? So if you're looking for reach, TV is fantastic because you can go on national TV and you can reach an enormous audience. Think about the Super Bowl. The reach for the Super Bowl was 110 million people. 110 million people. However, a Super Bowl ad for 30 seconds costs $5.5 million. But if you look at it, you're talking about a nickel per person. So it's very, very inexpensive. Then you look at frequency. You want to hit somebody a lot. If you're looking at frequency, magazine ads are great because people thumb through magazines more than once. They'll thumb through magazines again and again and again for a full month until the next issue comes out. Another one would be billboards. If you take a look at a billboard that's, say, at the Can of Worms, people are going to see that at least twice a day, and they're going to see it 22 times a month because they're going to see it going to work and coming home from work every single day, 5 times a week, for 5.5 weeks a month. So that would kind of deter how you're going to choose among your major media. And then you got to set the timing. When do you want it? Do you want it to be continuous? Do you want it to be pulsing? Do you want it to be flighting? Continuous would be like Flow. They're always advertising. Pulsating would be like a Pepsi commercial. Pepsi will hit you really hard in the summertime, then maybe real hard around sporting activities. So they pulse. It's pulsating. They'll hit you real hard and back off. Then hit you real hard and back off. And then there's flighting. Flighting would be Cadbury eggs. They hit you real hard around a specific time, and then they back off and you don't see them again. Scott's Turf Builder, the lawn care. They hit you real hard in the spring. They don't hit you again. So those are all some of the things that you need to think about as you're choosing your media. So the major types of media, this is a really good slide. I'm not going to read it to you, but it gives you the advantages of the newspaper, television, direct mail, radio, magazines, and outdoor, which would be billboard, and the limitations. This makes great test questions. Just letting you know. If I were you, I would study this slide. So obviously, your place advertising options are either on billboards, on major highways. There's public spaces like bus stops and things like that. There's also product placement, and you see product placement in different places. You see product placement actually in movies. You also see in the first group that presented a long time ago, second night of class, talked about product placement with regards to Apple. And then also there's point of purchase places to put your media. So evaluating alternative media, as I told you at the beginning and in the introduction here, many people are using alternative media, such as digital media and non-traditional media and things like that. That is on the increase too. But again, as I said in the introduction, so is mass media, and that just boggles my mind. Non-traditional media would be posted placards. Non-traditional media would be having TVs like they have at warehouse places like BJ's, advertising in the back of a seat in an airline, and those types of things. Those are all non-traditional media types. So specific media versus media vehicles. The media planner's got to choose the most cost-effective depending on who their target market is and whether they want reach, whether they want frequency, and whether they want continuous, flighting, or pulsating advertising. Speaking of which, we've already gone over this, continuous, flighting, concentrated, and pulsing. The definitions are in your book, but I talked about it a few slides ago. Make sure you understand the difference between continuity, flighting, pulsing, and concentrated. If you want, you can move the slide up, such as this, and read all about it here. Sales promotion is another source of mass communication. Sales promotion is just that. It's incentives at point of purchase. The number one sales promotion is couponing. You also have buy one, get one. You also have giveaways. You also have premiums, all types of incentive tools into sales promotion to try to get people to purchase the product. Sales promotions are most effective once you get somebody in the store. So oftentimes you see them on point of purchases, you see them couponing, etc. Sales promotions are also very, very, very popular when there is very little difference between products, between, like, say, a blonde lager beer, between Bud Light, Miller Lite, and Coors Light. Because there's not a lot of difference, they're always having some type of promotion or sales promotion out there. So again, with sales promotion, the first thing you've got to do is establish objectives. Are you going to give sales promotions for the consumer? Or are you going to give, as you're a manufacturer, give sales promotion to the retailer to try to sell it through? Again, we talked about this in the last video. That would be push versus pull. If you want the retailer to sell your product through, you are going to give your promotions to the retailer, which would mean you give 10 cents on a box of macaroni and cheese to Wegmans. If in fact you want a pull strategy, or you want the consumers to pull it through your retailer, then you would give a coupon offering 10 cents to the consumer off a box of macaroni and cheese. So you can have a sales promotion that is a push strategy, and you can also have a sales promotion that is a pull strategy. These are the major sales promotions. We know sampling. Go to Wegmans on a Saturday morning, you get lunch. You know, you can just go from sample to sample to sample to sample. Couponing is the number one. I think something like 400 billion, no kidding, billion, that's a B, billion coupons are mailed every year, which just talk about save a tree. A lot of them are becoming more and more digital. Some retailers will take digital coupons, other retailers will not. The biggest one for digital couponing that I know of is Kohl's, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Bath and Body Works. Man, I'm getting those all the time. All I got to do is buy something once. They ask for your email address, and you get all kinds of these electronic couponing. Cash refunds or rebates oftentimes are on electronics, computers, and that type of thing. Sometimes there's point of purchase rebates where you get it right then. Other times you got to mail in for the rebates. The mail in for the rebates are a lot less successful. A lot of people don't pay attention to them because you got to kind of jump through hoops to get those rebates. Price packs, which is sent off deals, or 30% larger. So you've got, a lot of times you'll see that on personal products like shampoos and things like that, 50% off, or excuse me, 30% larger. Premiums. Premiums are gifts that you get when you buy something. I remember years back, Blue Light. If you bought a 30-pack of Blue Light, inside the 30-pack was a hockey puck that said the Sabres, Buffalo Sabres on it. Because if you think about it, it's a perfect premium because oftentimes hockey fans are beer drinkers. You know, Blue Light is a Canadian beer, hockey big time in Canada, all those types of things. So they're offering a hockey puck for a 30-pack of Blue Light. I think I've got about 50 hockey pucks, to tell you the truth, because I switched from Jenny to Blue Light just for the hockey puck. And then when the premium went away, it was after about 2 weeks. Just kidding. When the premium went away, a lot of you guys didn't catch that. Then I went back to Jenny. So sometimes premiums will have people change their habits. Sometimes they won't. And then finally, frequency programs. Those are your frequent flyer programs. Those are your, buy 9, get the 10th one free, etc. So trade promotions oftentimes are B2B. You've got, again, price off or allowances. So a manufacturer, Kraft macaroni and cheese might give a price off to Wegmans to incentivize to sell that product through. Allowances would be they offer an amount if in fact you sell so much. So if you sell 20, we're going to give you a discount on those 20. If you sell 40, we'll give you a bigger discount on the 40 that you sold. And then, of course, you got free goods. You buy a case, we'll give you a case for free. It basically drops your price. Trade show promotions are major business and B2B promotions. Sales contests, we see them all the time for Salesforce. And then specialty advertising are all big with regards to B2B Salesforce promotions. So these are some things to consider in developing your program. Your incentive size. How much of a giveaway are you going to give off? How much of a discount are you going to give? If you're going to have a larger size, 30% larger, is it 25% larger? What are the conditions and the terms that apply? Do you have to buy one? For instance, with sales, with sweepstakes, no purchase is necessary. With contests, you can make a purchase necessary. So with sweepstakes, the difference between a sweepstakes and a contest, the contest requires some type of skill or some types of thought. Sweepstakes is just picked randomly. There is a law in all 50 states that with a sweepstakes, no purchase is necessary. How long? What's the duration of the sales program? How are you going to distribute the coupons or the sales program? Is it going to be point of purchase? Are you going to distribute it through a mail? Or is it going to be a digital coupon? How are you going to do it? What is the timing? I know that there's a lot of couponing going around on Christmas, a lot of couponing done and sales off done on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Are you going to do it throughout the year? Are you going to do it when sales are low? Or are you, when you're going to, and people aren't thinking about buying? Or are you going to do it when sales are high? For instance, right now, there's all kinds of discounts on Pepsi versus Coke because we're in the hot summer and that's when people are buying Coke and Pepsi. There's also incentives out there on beer and specials on beer because 'tis the season. In February and March and April, except for around March 17th, beer sales decline. And then what is your total sales promotions budget? You got to remember, whenever you do a sales promotion, if you're not getting people to switch from brand to brand, then all you're doing is lowering your average selling price, which means you're just lowering your revenue. So implementing and evaluating, what's the lead time? How long is it going to take to get the word out? What's the sell-in time? If you're going to have coupons, how long does it take for that to hit the shelf? For instance, you might have a coupon. Let me give you an example. The 30 pack with a hockey puck. You got to wait until all of your stock is sold before you can sell the stock with the hockey puck. So that's your sell-in time. Are you going to collect data through sales and scanners? Are you going to have consumer surveys? How are you going to know whether the sales program is effective? Are you going to do an experiment? Are you going to roll it out in a small market first and then roll it out later into a larger market? So all of those things are what you have to consider when talking and doing a sales promotion. Events and experiences also part of mass communication. Events and experiences. Let's talk about events first. Events means you're going to sponsor the event. For instance, you could sponsor the Olympics. You could sponsor the Super Bowl. You could sponsor the Super Bowl halftime show like Pepsi always does. You can sponsor the Major League Baseball. You can sponsor the NBA. Now, just because you sponsor an event or something like that doesn't mean you get free advertising within that event. You still have to pay advertising like everything else. However, in all of your material as a company, you can say official sponsor of whatever it is. For instance, when I was with Bausch & Lomb, we sponsored the Olympics one year. So we were the official sponsor of the Winter and the Summer Olympics. Now, we weren't the only sponsor. So we were the official contact lens sponsor of the Winter and the Summer Olympics. We also sponsored the NBA. We were the official contact lens sponsor of the NBA. We didn't get free advertising. If we wanted to advertise during those things, we had to pay. But we did get other things, like we were able to take some clients we had some tickets to the NBA games. We had tickets to the Olympics, and we were able to take some clients there, etc. So really the objectives are what you see in front of you. You can read them, and they're pretty much self-explanatory. The key thing, again, with sponsoring an event is to determine who is your target market, and does your target market pay attention to that event? And that's the key thing. With contact lenses, sports were very, very, very good because most of the people got contact lenses when they wanted to play sports. They got contact lenses for two reasons. One is looks. They wanted to look better. And the second reason is they didn't want glasses to get away in sports. So that's why they got contact lenses. So sports made a lot of sense for us at Bausch & Lomb. So you need to choose your events. You got to make sure that your sponsorship events goes with your target audience. Then you've got to design your sponsorship programs. What do you want to do? Do you want to advertise during that event? Do you want to just put it on your own materials, on your own collaterals? Do you want to put it in your advertising? For instance, you could advertise your product, and then on all of your advertising, you could say official sponsor of whatever event it is. And measuring sponsorship activities, that's really, really, really difficult. You know, we don't know whether sales are going to increase or decrease. However, we can get a pulse on how our customers feel about it and whether it's gaining goodwill or not. Experiences, and one of the key things is experiential marketing. That's very hot right now. Experiential marketing is actually when you have getting your target market or your customers involved in something so it stays with them. Oftentimes you see experiential marketing with golf clubs where people will go out and bring golf clubs out on a course and let people play with them, play around with them. There's all kinds of different experiential marketings that GMR marketing is one of the big experiential marketers. I heard when I was in Chicago one time for a convention, I heard them speak. They did a really cool thing with Buster Posey and Esurance. Got a little 2-minute video here I want to show you on experiences. This is an excellent example of what we call experiential marketing.
At GMR, innovation is one of our core values. We're always looking for new and exciting ways to help drive better results for our clients. It's easy for our imagination to outpace what's currently in the marketplace. So, if the right solution doesn't exist, we need to invent it. A great example is the recent work we did for Esurance, the popular online insurance company. Our research had already shown that baseball fans were highly likely to become Esurance customers. In fact, we'd already been doing quite a bit of work with them in the space.
We recently created a bunch of spots featuring All-Star catcher Buster Posey, and we've been helping Esurance activate at the MLB All-Star Game for years.
This time, our team wanted to bring baseball fans even closer to the action, and we came up with a great idea. What if Esurance could help you experience Major League Baseball from the player's perspective? You would put on a mitt, step onto the field, and catch pitches from a professional pitcher. And Buster Posey would coach you through the experience, all in virtual reality. We would drive home that Esurance is a technology brand that offers timely advice. But it would have to feel totally real. You'd have to see the entire stadium, feel the ball hitting your mitt, or it wouldn't work at all.
There was just one problem. The solution didn't exist. No one had done what we ever wanted to do. We couldn't just buy the technology off the shelf. We couldn't just reverse engineer something else. We would have to invent the tech to create the experience in-house.
So, we hired a professional baseball pitcher and filmed him on our main stage at the GMR studio. We also flew out to Phoenix and recorded Buster to guide the player through the experience.
Hey, I'm Buster Posey. I'm here to show you what it's like to get to Major League Fastball. Are you ready?
Our visual effects team built a virtual stadium in 3D. Really cool. You could explore through VR and see all of the details. Then, we composited the live footage into the virtual environment.
We wanted fans not just to see the action, which is typical in VR experiences, but to feel it with their sense of touch.
So we created a baseball mitt with haptic feedback.
It works like magic. When you catch the ball in the game, you can feel it in your hand.
We also created the physical space itself.
When you put it all together, you get a totally immersive, authentic experience.
To amplify this, we made it possible for fans to easily share on social media using GMR's Now Pick platform, and they loved it. The media loved it too. Esurance is just one example of how we use innovation to create never-been-done-before experiences that matter and drive our clients' business forward. At GMR, we make the impossible possible.
So that's an example of virtual reality for experiential marketing. I got to tell you, folks, when I was in Chicago, I was able to do that, sit and catch that curveball and fastball, and it was an amazing experience. It truly was. You know, I'm a baseball fan, obviously, and I've talked about that before. But to be able to catch that ball and see that ball coming at you, and then when it hits your mitt, to feel it in your mitt, was really inexperienced. And you know, that is taking experiential marketing to the highest level, in my opinion. So last concept we're going to talk about today is public relations. Public relations are all about trying to get a company's name in the press or in the media in a positive way. It's called hits, H-I-T-S, hits. The more positive hits you can get from a company, the better off you are. And so public relations firms, that's their whole job, is to get positive hits. When you donate your time, when you do a good deed, when you help the children, when you help the rainforest, whatever you do, you're trying to get good hits. I don't know if you remember, I hope you remember, about 3 weeks ago when I talked about that pulp that came out of the rainforest in Brazil. One of the problems was negative PR that I was thinking about with Xerox. So really any kind of publicity that you can get that makes good for your company is what the objective of a PR is. Oftentimes it's not really to sell a product. It might be to inform of a product, but really what we're trying to do with public relations is build goodwill throughout our target community for things that we've done. So some of the things that public relations can do when you're launching new products, oftentimes it's a restaurant opening or it's an exhibit opening for the MAG, Memorial Art Gallery, or maybe it's a new restaurant that's opening, or it's a new exhibit at the Seneca Park Zoo or something like that. We're trying to build interest in a product or interest in a company. We're trying to influence our target group, saying we're good people. Don't hurt us. Don't think bad about us. Walmart is trying to always try to influence their target market to say we're not as bad as people think we are. Sometimes it's defending a problem. Sometimes something happened and you got to defend it. Sometimes it's just an apology. We're sorry. It's not going to happen again. Sometimes it's a deflection. Also, sometimes it's just to build your corporate image. We're good guys. Accenture is always talking about what they're doing as far as a public relations thing. Wegmans is very philanthropic. We all know that Tom Golisano is very philanthropic, and it translates into paychecks. So those are all the different types of ways for public relations. Major decisions is you want to establish objective. You also want to have timing. If you're always in the newspaper, people think you're tooting your own horn and you're only doing it to increase business. So you've got to make sure that on your hits come often, but they come in a timely manner, and it doesn't look like we're just being self-promoting. You've got to evaluate your plan, implement your plan. Then you got to take a step back and say, is it happening? Is the plan happening the way I want it to happen? And so here's are all the major public relations tools: publications, events, sponsorship, news, speeches, all these different things, etc. So that's going to conclude today's lecture. Again, your assignment, please write in memo format the key takeaways, 1 to 2 pages. Turn it in to me on Monday. Looking forward to seeing you on Monday. We are on the home stretch, only a couple weeks left. And again, looking forward to seeing you. We'll talk to you later.